but never in this capacity have we, as a whole family, especially with my mom and dad, have we done this kind of level of business together. But I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that I have them to share the ups and downs, because you know this, Mason, there's a lot of ups and downs when you start a business. And yeah, it's just, it is what it is. And we're not going to sugarcoat that. But the cool thing is that we were going through some of the similar things, some of the same things at the same time. But also I had gone through different, areas of the business before my sisters. And now that they're going through it, I think it's helped me to be there for them. And then
you can pull them right through adversity. Like, oh, I remember this. Like, I about quit right there. Here's what you need to do to go right around that wall.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. I know this one works.
Okay.
Put this stupid thing on silent.
Dang, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Technology's ruining my interviews.
Everyone can see.
And we are live. Oh, Holly, how are you, girl?
I'm good, Mason. How are you?
I'm doing I'm doing good. So how's your week been?
Oh, it has been, honestly, it's been amazing. Yeah, I can't complain at all.
I can tell #1 on the key leaderboards, correct?
I think for the month, yeah, we are. We're
so at 66,000 or something.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
No, I got to give my people a good kick in the butt. Keep up with you. You guys are killing it. And also, Holly, let's kind of get into this. So before you went to Symmetry, what did you do?
That's a very interesting question, because I did a couple of things. I've been in a band with my sisters, two of my sisters, Hannah and Halla Jacobs, who are also on my team in Symmetry. But yeah, I was in a band with them, and we moved to Nashville around 2019 to continue recording. We had our producer was here and everything. So we were full on like pursuing the music industry like crazy. And then in 2020, of course, COVID hit, and it just kind of halted all of our plans. We had just released like a mini EP, and we were going to put
What is an EP? I always see that. It's like, I think episodes. What is that? Yeah. Like a week production or
that. Well, it's basically just like a shortened version of an album. And they just call
it gotcha.
Because it's like, half of the songs that you would put on an actual whole album. It's just a shortened version of that. So we had recorded about five of our original songs, and we put that out, and we were starting to gain a lot of traction, and it just
COVID.
Yeah, it just was like, we were so
pandemic. Here you go.
Yeah,
no, I feel that. So
yeah,
that was in 2019. What did you kind of do before music? Like kind of growing up, what kind of jobs or what kind of culture and fields do you come from?
Well, believe it or not, I do have a business degree. I went to the University of North Alabama. It's in Florence, Alabama, the Shoals area. Shout out to Muscle Shoals. I loved going to college there, and I got a really good experience. So I did business because I was like already in music, and I realized, okay, I'm going to be in music probably the rest of my life. It's just my passion. So I went ahead and got a business degree just to kind of give me something else to fall back on. So I did that, graduated in 2012. And then after that, I did like, honestly, just some different corporate jobs, not always just some 9-to-5 jobs that I could get. I worked for like Tennessee Farm Bureau Insurance. I did online teaching. I worked for Chick-fil-A as their marketing.
So that's why you're so good right there.
I know. I loved it. It was, I was the catering sales director, and it was fun.
Were you that girl, like when someone drove off without their Chick-fil-A sauce, you're running like, sir, sir?
I had to work on the phones even back then, Mason. I was on the phones, like done a lot of phone jobs, to be honest with you.
You were so slow on, not slow on the phone, but like how low and slow. I love it. I love it. Is there any crossover at all between your music and Symmetry? I mean, as far as like skills or techniques or anything that you've kind of noticed, like, is there something that you can do in music that also works with Symmetry?
I think the biggest thing, the biggest correlation probably is just the way that you deal with people. I think as far as being in music, you're always using this creative part of your brain because you're thinking about what you're hearing, and it comes to your mind first before it ever comes out with an instrument or whatever. It really just, you hear it there first. And I feel like that though translates here because you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to have a little bit of creativity. You have to be able to see the vision you want and formulate your why you're doing it. And I think I already had that drive coming in because I was doing that for years, trying to create the world I wanted for my music. And I just realized this could be actually the vehicle that I could use to translate into the music world, where I can have a running business here and invest some of that income or whatever I make here into that business as well.
Yeah,
So
you kind of have to pay to sing until you're paid to be heard.
yes,
So I like that. So
you're
you
already in the hole.
vision. Yeah, you mentioned vision. What is your vision?
That is okay. So my vision is, I think my vision's kind of loaded. My vision is really just to be able to grow multiple businesses. And I've been like that really since I was pretty young. I saw music as, I kind of view things as lanes. There are different lanes that we can kind of travel down and sort of possess. And I think one of my biggest lanes was music because I wanted to be able to release what I was creating in that lane. And then I feel like Symmetry is its own lane. And then there are things I want to do in real estate. That's another lane. So I feel like they can all correlate though, at some point. And I think my biggest why is just being able to provide for my future, and just to live out my passions.
And is your passion mainly music?
I would say, yeah, for most of my life, it has been. I've been singing since I was a little girl and started writing songs at a pretty young age. And so, yeah, I'd say apart from just, being in Symmetry and getting to know people and growing in that network, yeah, music has been the thing. I traveled for 9 years singing in a jazz band, and I loved that. So, yeah, that would be my biggest passion. But I think now I've realized that it's more than just being able to sing and perform and make people smile and make people happy. I think now it's deeper than that for me.
Is it like just to express yourself? Like what is that music really bringing out of you, you feel?
I think it brings out something even deeper. I think there's an innate sense, like when you have a gift, you want to share it, you want to release it, and you also it does something for you when you see how it impacts other people. And I think that's one reason why I love Symmetry so much, is because I can physically see.
Well, you get to see the impact. Yeah, see that's what a lot of people they can't comprehend. Like, not to try to bring religion and all that stuff into this, but well, just imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine, right? If your vision gets big, which I don't doubt it will. I have no fears that it won't happen. You guys are amazing. When you do die and go over to whatever else is out there, heaven, your second life, you could come back as a rooster. I don't know. But then you really get to see the effects of your music on the people that you didn't get to see in person. That, I think that's kind of what I'm building up, is seeing the impact of what we do that you can't see right now.
Right.
I think that's where a lot of people get depressed or sad, because they can't understand delayed gratification. They're not seeing the impact or the fruit of their labor right then and there, like you can right now.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's good. I'm
That's
glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I think that you summed it up great, because me and my sisters talk about it a lot, because we've been on this journey for so long. And it's like that. It's very nebulous in the music industry. When you're pursuing that for yourself, you don't really know exactly what it's going to end up being like. You have a vision, but it is delayed. It's totally delayed gratification. And if you don't understand that and learn to develop that skill, you are not going to get very far in that. So I think, realizing it here when I came into Symmetry, within a few months, I could see the impact. And as people started joining, and with me, it's been all my warm market that's joined.
Yeah, you have a constant reminder. It's all the people you sing with. What is the name of your band, just in case anyone wants to go to listen to your music? And I'll be a testimony right here. I got to listen to these girls live, and they are the SHI, the rest of it. So I absolutely love you guys' voices. Like, hearing that, I was like, that's the sort of stuff, like, that's one of the few things that can put me to sleep, is like a soft voice, or like when I go get my hair cut. They have messed up so many times where I've like fell asleep and like shaved the bald spot. Like, oh man. So that is absolutely awesome. So what is it? Hollis, correct?
Yeah, it's so all of our handles, if you want to look us up on social media, it's at Hollis the band, because we are a band. We play instruments and do the whole 9 yards. So yeah, at Hollis the band. You can find us on mostly Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us on all the platforms. Our music is on Spotify, Apple Music, all the platforms. It's all there. So yeah, check us out.
There you go. So as far as Symmetry is concerned, let's dive into some kind of business. What is we don't really talk much about pay, but if you're okay with that, let's kind of go into like starting fresh and then now. How big of a difference is it in like pay?
I think it's a pretty big difference in
like what you kind of start out making compared to what you might see in a month right now, because that's obviously going to double in the next year. So what did you kind of start out making a month to what you're making right now?
My first month, so I started in January of 2021. Started dialing then. I didn't really write my first policy till about March. And I think I did about 8,000 that month in APV, and then it just continued to grow. So when I had an $8,000 month, I made about maybe 4,000 that my first month, which was more than I was making at all of my other jobs.
Yeah, that's more than a lot of people make in a couple months sometimes.
Yeah, that was like my very first month, and then the next month it grew. It was like, I think I did about 12,000 APV. So I was making, about 6K. And then as it progressed, by the time I got to about May and June, I had a $37,000 month. And so I made about 13 grand in my bank. I mean, and that was when it really hit me. And that, that was me on a small contract level, still making that. Now I'm at 90, going to be at 95 this next month. And it's double that. So it is such a huge feedback that you don't really get.
And how much better is life? Because life with problems is one thing. Problems while you're broke is a completely another level.
Exactly. Oh, I remember like laying in bed at night before Symmetry and just thinking like generating all these different ideas of how to do these extra like side hustles to make more money. I was constantly thinking like, I need X amount to maybe even like produce another song or something. Like I was just constantly thinking, how am I gonna get my business?
Where's my next fix? Yep.
Yeah. And it's so stressful. You can't live like that long term. It's just
What's some of the internal dialogue you had back in those days? Like pre-Symmetry, what's some of everyone has that inner voice and you don't have to be crazy to hear it. So what's some of those things, what's some of that internal dialogue that you told yourself? Like, was it the I'm not good enough or you can't make $1 million? Like what kind of things were you telling yourself back then?
I remember that $1 million seemed like so out of reach.
Like impossible. Yep. It's impossible until you do it.
Yeah, it seemed impossible. It really did. And I would thankfully, I did have my sisters along the journey to share a lot of my like frustrations and feelings, because we were kind of going through it at the same time. But at that point, I was just constantly trying to figure out, because my sisters can attest to this, like they didn't like to think about the business side of the music as much as I did.
Well, you were the older sister. So
yeah. And so I was constantly trying to think about what way we could come up with some extra money to do this or that, because you've got to realize when you're going after something, the biggest expense you have in a new startup, I think, especially when you're doing music, is your marketing budget. You need a lot of budgeting for that. And that's where you're going to find like you're relying on your record label for that most of the time. And when you're independent, you have to come up with the funds for that. So it was just constantly us needing more money all the time. And so, yeah, I think I had a lot of limiting beliefs because I had never made $10,000 in a month. I had never.
Well, you just never experienced that reality. You just never saw that lifestyle for yourself yet, so you couldn't comprehend it.
No,
so
I couldn't comprehend
that's the problem with a lot of people. They're like that's too good to be true. Symmetry is too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I felt the same way when I came in.
Ooh.
I really did. I did not. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to try this and see. I just really don't think.
I thought this is the pyramid scheme I want to be a part of. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to the top. It's like, if it's real, it's real. If it's not, oh, well, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, I'm kind of like that too, Mason. I'll try anything once, like I've done.
That goes bad sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did Arbonne. I did.
Those mixed fruit drinks from those juice companies are the damn worst. I swear that's the devil talking right there. I swear those things do not work. They're a lie. I can go get some apple juice from the 7-Eleven down the street for $3, trying to sell me a mixed non-alcoholic drink for like $15, talking about it's going to clean my gut. Right. That's what that bathroom's for right there. Limiting beliefs. I like how you brought that up. How much worse do you think it would have been for you without having your sisters around? You had to do it on your own.
Oh gosh. Well, honestly, that's how it was when I joined. I was alone. I didn't. My sisters did not believe in this. They were working their own 9-to-5 jobs, and so I really had to be the forerunner for us. And even at that point, my dad was in Symmetry still. And he was also, he had stayed in Symmetry for a long time, but he was going through some health issues when I first started. Yep. So I was just like trying to figure it out. And I really had nothing to go off of, no one to borrow belief from. And that's where Carlton Lear.
It's my man right there.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The Lear, yep.
Yeah. Carlton and he kind of just stood in the gap and stepped in. And, of course, he was our agency owner anyway. And so, and if you know him, he has a big heart, and he's going to help.
Dude is the most selfless person I have ever met. Like, I love that dude.
Yeah.
I love that dude. With all of whatever's in here, guts and he is one of the best people God has ever put in my life. Like, I cannot ever be thankful enough for him. And he actually just texted me, so that's funny.
Yeah, I know. And he really is. And we got started. I was his dialer when we first started because I had gotten to a point where I was just so tired and fed up with not getting any momentum. And I knew, okay, I have to make a decision. I'm going to put music on hold for a while and go into this because I realized that's what it was going to take. It was going to take me putting everything into that, putting my mind and all of my focus into the skill set of learning this. And that's what I did. And so I called him up one day and I was like, hey, can I just maybe dial for you or something? Like, what can we do to get me started? And that's when he kind of, his gift sort of went into overdrive and we got to work and started dialing for him. And then as I started seeing him progressing and me setting the appointments and getting them to show up, I started believing that, okay, I'm good. I can do this. And then I started investing in myself and doing it for myself. And all the while my sisters are watching, they're watching the process, but they're working their work from home jobs, their 9-to-5 jobs, and just kind of living their lives apart from me. And they're realizing, okay, Holli never.
What was the point where they got jealous? She was like, this girl's getting her nails done every week. She got her hair done twice this month. I want in.
Well, the sad thing, Mason, Hannah and Halla, like, this is how low it got for me. I will just be really candid. I couldn't even pay my bills. I was working COVID contact tracing on the weekends as a, as my job, making like maybe $2,000 a month, if even that. I couldn't really pay my bills. And so they were having to help me out. And then when I started like paying mine and then covering their, their dinners and having extra stuff, I think it wasn't until our first boot camp in May. So they
thought you were selling drugs. I'm like, why are you buying my food?
Yeah, it was like they really didn't know how much money I actually had in the bank because I didn't tell them. I was like, I'm just going to keep this to myself because every time I talked to them about it, they were just like, Holli, whatever, like, just, that's not for me right now. You go ahead and do it.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I was like, okay, fine. So I didn't tell them. And then May rolls around, mind you, I started in March and then May rolls around. This is last year, 2021. They have no clue. And this is our first boot camp. We started Nashville boot camps. Shout out to Carlton on that. He had a really brilliant idea of us just getting everybody together.
Yep.
And so in May, we had the very first one. There was like 5 people. There was hardly anyone. But my sisters came and Carlton showed them how much I had made that month. I had $13,000 in my bank account and they were floored. They were just floored. They were
hold up.
This couldn't even comprehend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people can't comprehend it because they've never experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the limiting beliefs people need to get over. They don't even know they have. They get stuck in this poverty mindset instead of the purpose. So I absolutely love that for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really cool.
How not important, but how much is having your family in your business kind of done for you, or what's that kind of look like? Give me kind of a synopsis or a breakdown of what it's kind of like being in business with your sisters and all these people in your family.
It's been a fun and interesting ride. Anybody that's close to their family can understand what that sort of means. I think for us, because we had our band already, it did help us in the sense that we sort of knew what it was like to work together already. And we were on that trajectory, but never in this capacity have we as a whole family, especially with my mom and dad, have we done this kind of level of business together. But I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that I have them to share the ups and downs because you know this, Mason. There's a lot of ups and downs when you start a business. And yeah, it's just it is what it is, and we're not going to sugarcoat that. But the cool thing is that we were going through some of the similar things, some of the same things at the same time, but also I had gone through different, areas of the business before my sisters, and now that they're going through it, I think it's helped me to be there for them. And
Oh,
then
you can pull them right through adversity. Like, oh, I remember this. Like, I about quit right there. Here's what you need to do to go right around that wall. Yep.
exactly. So yeah, it's huge, and I'm very grateful for it. And I would say it's challenging because we know each other so well that sometimes it's like if you know somebody really well and you know all the good, bad, and ugly about them, I think that can be one of the things that at times is like a challenge for us that we have to work through as a family. But overall, I would not want to do this without them. So I'm
Oh,
very
you hear that, Hannah? Hear that, Hannah? Say holla. No, I love those girls. You guys are some of the like best people I've ever met. Like just hanging out with you guys, playing card games, whatever the case is. Like that was probably one of the best nights I had in my life. Just getting to talk to Carlton around a little Walmart campfire, and I'm serious, but it's the events like these that big decisions are made at, like the after parties, whatever the case is. We're not going out and getting plastered. Like we're just having real relationship building.
right.
It's like a small community group. So I absolutely love that aspect. And I mean, if you could, or Holly, if you could teach someone anything, let's kind of get into a little note-taking session, because I love what you brought up with Kashan's call the other day, but you don't even have to do that. I mean, if you could, a new agent, or even acting like you were talking to your sister just starting, like, what would you kind of teach them right now, just for a teaching experience where someone can get their notepad out? What would you kind of focus on teaching them?
Well, I think the biggest thing to understand when you're coming into this as a new agent, I would say if you're going to take notes, you're going to want to write down, you know, the synopsis of what this is.
Oh yeah, we're not telling them to take notes. You're about to teach them real quick. So
yeah,
people.
yeah. I think what you would want to remember the most as you're coming in with a clean slate is just that, coming with a clean slate, and don't have any preconceived notions of what this is going to be like. You have to start out being a follower. You won't be able to be a leader unless you can follow well. And you have to realize that there is a system in place. We have a system that is really going to grow you, and it's going to fund your business as well. But you have to be willing to follow that, and you have to be willing to look at yourself, examine you, and realize your limiting beliefs. And just, I would say, if you can cut out things in your life that you don't need for a season, do that. And let your friends and family know what you're doing. And they may not agree, they may not understand, but that's okay. As long as you understand, then you're going to prove that to them and everyone else in your life if you're able to focus and hone in a specific amount of time. Once you learn the skill, you can use it at will, and it is there for you.
I love that, those little one-liners, little snappy one-liners. Like, what book did you pull this out of? You heard that from Carlton or Kashan. I already know. I absolutely love that. So, I mean, if there was one thing a new agent should be focused on, what would that be? They're coming here with a new slate, but I mean, if they had to focus on anything, would it be like money-making activities? Is it just get on the phone? Like, what would you tell them?
I think it's, there's really two things you can do. I think you should dive into our training first. We have a really good training now that Symmetry has provided us, even that it's here now when it wasn't there for me.
Quality U skill blocks.
Summit and Quality U. And I think if you get started on that and follow the track, that's huge. But as soon as you can get some leads in your hands, get on the phone and dial. get on the phone and learn. There's going to be some things that you're going to work through, and you'll realize where you're at with your emotions when you get started. And I think the biggest thing to remember while you're going through that is it's just a season. There is an end to that. But if you don't stick with it and you don't hone in on the skill, practice is going to make perfect. It's the same here as it is out in anything you do. You've got to put the activity into it and dive in and ask a lot of questions. Find out who those people are in your organization. We all have our agent mentors to look up to. But if your agent mentor isn't somebody you feel that maybe is available for you at that moment, or you need to, always go up, just keep going up. When I came in, my dad was going through a surgery, and he was not able to really pour everything into me at that moment. So I went up and around and just found someone else. And I think you have to be really proactive in doing that, and don't be afraid of that.
I love that. Do you happen to have a script in front of you?
I actually, weirdly enough, I do.
Oh, knew it. All right, so let's do a little like 4 minute role play, kind of what you sound like on the phone, because you are immaculate. Seriously, like you are an awesome dialer. So just call me real quick and I'll be a client.
Okay. All right. This is hilarious. I always love doing these. But at the same time, it's so funny because we're going to pretend, let's just a little backstory. You are a Southern gentleman in Kentucky. That way I can really, I have to put on my Southern charm. So.
Okay.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Mason. This is Holli Jacobs.
Okay.
I'm calling you back about your notice that we received in our office. It's in regards to your loan. It's the First Bank of America for $250,000. I'm with Mortgage Protection Services. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Is this about that card I got in the mail?
Yeah, actually it is. Do you remember when you called that 1-800 number there?
Yeah, I remember that. The only reason I asked is someone called me about that. I just kind of let them know I wasn't too interested in it.
Oh, okay. When did you get a call about it, Mason?
Actually, about an hour ago, weird enough.
Really? Oh my goodness. Well, were they able to explain to you why you need to look into this?
Not really. They just called and tried coming out here, but
Yeah. Well, I just have a couple of questions for you. We just need to first verify that this information we have is correct here. It says you are 30 years old. Is that right?
yeah.
Okay. And for you, Mason, with mortgage protection, it's really about making sure you have something in place if you pass away or if you aren't able to work. Is that something that's important to you?
Yeah.
And why would that be important to you, Mason?
Well, I mean, if I get hurt at work, then I'm not making any money. Then my family's kind of left starving, I guess.
Okay. Your family. So who would you be looking to protect if something happens to you?
Mainly just the wife, but then I got a kid and then 2 dogs. They're probably the most important, but
Yeah, exactly. How old are your kids?
2 and 3.
Oh, that's awesome. You got your hands full right now.
Oh yeah, they tell you about the terrible 2s, but not the terrible 3s, 4s, and 5s either.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that. I don't have kids yet, but hopefully one day. So for you, Mason, at this point, without having any protection in place, what's it going to look like for your wife and your 2 kids?
If I got hurt or something, or if I died,
Yeah, both.
they would probably have to sell the house and find somewhere else to live.
How does that make you feel?
Honestly, not very good. Now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
guess I haven't really talked anything about like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I didn't see your wife's name on here. What is your wife's first name?
Uh, Annabelle.
Annabelle? Okay. So for Annabelle and the kids, you're realizing it's going to be pretty tough on them to really make it if you're not here. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Well, Mason, we'll do what we can for you to give you some peace of mind on that. Obviously, because of the nature of this coverage here, we're just concerned about the background of people. Are you taking any medication for anything?
No.
No, not at all. That's awesome. Have you been hospitalized or had surgery in the last 5 to 7 years?
No surgeries.
Okay, that's great. What about driving record issues? Have you had any speeding tickets, robbed a bank?
Oh, speeding tickets. That gas pedal gets a little heavy sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's okay. We'll look at that in a little bit. What I have to do, Mason, really is the county has given me so many cases to review. We have a lot of families back to back, and I'm just trying to figure out where we're putting everybody on the calendar right now. What time do you and Annabelle get home from work this evening?
We both get off at 5, so we usually got supper done by 6, and then usually just Grey's Anatomy or wherever she wants to do after that.
Right, no problem. Well, I actually have a 20-minute window around 6:45 or 7:15. Which one is better for you?
7:15 would be better for us.
Okay. All right, so let's do this. Grab something to write with for me. I'm going to give you a couple things to write down so we can help speed up the process for you.
Okay.
First thing you're going to need is your doctor's name, address, and phone number, who you're seeing. Just have that handy. If you or Annabelle happen to see any medications that you are taking currently, you want to go ahead and have those handy for us.
Okay.
And then just have your photo ID. A driver's license is fine for that.
Okay.
All right. So what time did we say this evening we're going to meet?
7:15.
Yes. Write that down for me, Mason. And write my name, Holli Jacobs. Just to give you a better idea of what's going to happen, Mason, all I'm going to do as the field underwriter with you and your wife is we're just going to verify whether you qualify for the coverage or not. So all that involves is we're going to fill out some paperwork, send it in, and see what they say.
Okay. Sounds fair enough.
All right. Now, before I let you go, can you do me a huge favor?
Yep.
We have 20 families back to back today. So just, with how busy we are, how good are you and Annabelle at keeping your appointments?
Pretty good. I don't like to miss stuff, so.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to get your email now and send this link over to you for our appointment. Have you ever used video conference before?
Unfortunately, yeah, the kids got all that Zoom stuff during COVID, so.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just going to send that over to you. You guys can hop on that. If you have any trouble with it, just let me know. And I look forward to serving you at 7:15.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Boom. That was good. That was good, girl. Woo. Low and slow. See, what I've been telling people is how you're talking about, are you good at keeping appointments? Now, like, Holli, now, tomorrow's actually my birthday, and I usually don't work, but I'm going to come in just for you. You're not going to stand me up on my birthday, are you? No one is sitting. I have not missed an appointment yet off that.
That is amazing. I've got to try that one. I am going to try that one, actually.
No, I absolutely love it. Well, look, Holli, that was people are going to love this. So everyone knows the band, Hollis the band. So go listen to them on Spotify and SoundCloud. SoundCloud is not just for failed rappers; it's for women voices. But listen, thank you so much for doing this with me. We'll catch up later, okay?
Sounds good, Mason.
All right, see you, girl. Have a good one.
Bye.